if you had to do it over? Is there any relationship in your personal life that you wouldn't get into if you had to do it over? And if there is, the next question is, how do you get out and how fast? How do you end it and how fast? Because if you wouldn't get into it again today, it means that it's time to get out. Apply zero-based thinking to your products and services and processes and business activities and expenditures. Ask yourself, are there any products or services that you've brought to the market that, knowing what you now know, you wouldn't offer? Is there any processes or procedures in your business that, knowing what you now know, you wouldn't initiate? Are there any activities or expenditures that you wouldn't engage in? Keep asking this question on a regular basis, especially if you're frustrated or unhappy for any reason. Are there any investments of time or money or emotion that are holding you back or dragging you down that you wouldn't get into again today? You see, it's impossible for you to develop an effective long-term strategy if you're held back by things in your life that you wouldn't even get into again if you had to do it over. And the next question is always, if you wouldn't get into it, how do you get out of this situation and how fast? And have the courage to cut your losses. Have the courage to get out of a bad situation that's not working so you can channel your energies into the future into something that will work much better. Well, there are three key statements that you must learn to remain flexible in a time of rapid change. Statement number one is the words, I made a mistake. Fully 70% of the decisions you make will turn out to be wrong in the fullness of time. So if you get new information and you realize it wasn't a good idea, say, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done it. And get out. Cut your losses quickly. The second statement you can learn to say is, I was wrong. Be prepared to admit that based on the information you had or based on your reasoning, it wasn't a good decision. I've made decisions on Monday and changed them on Tuesday. Always have the courage to admit that you're not perfect. Don't be afraid to say, I was wrong. Made a mistake. Shouldn't have done it. And cut your losses and get on with the rest of your life. And finally, the third statement that you need to learn to use over and over to remain flexible are the words, I changed my mind. When you get new information, be prepared to change your mind. Remember, in a time of rapid change, it is not a virtue to be fixed in your views. It is a virtue to change quickly when you get new information. All great managers, entrepreneurs, and executives are very flexible when they get new information, and they're willing to say, I made a mistake. I was wrong. I changed my mind. Now, the starting point of strategy is clarity. You must decide exactly what you want before you begin. Now, the purpose of business strategy, if you read all the textbooks, is to increase what is called ROE, which is return on equity. That's the amount of money working in the business. But the purpose of personal strategy is for you to increase ROE, which is return on energy, or return on life. Now, businesses look to increase the return on financial capital, but you must always be looking to increase the return on personal capital, which is your mental capital, your emotional capital, your physical capital. You must always be looking to deploy yourself or invest yourself in such a way that you get the highest investment return on yourself, on your energy or your life. The second purpose of strategic planning is to reposition your company and your activities in a better way to assure a higher return to you on your investment. The whole purpose of strategy is to revise the various strategic ingredients so that you are getting more out than you're putting in. Your business goal is to achieve better financial results than before. Your personal goal is to achieve greater satisfaction and happiness than you were before. So here's 6 questions you can ask. Question number 1 is, what am I trying to do? Be clear about the answer. Question number 2 is, how am I trying to do it? What methodology am I using? Question number 3 is, could there be a better way to achieve your goals than the way that you're currently using? Question number 4 is ask, what are my assumptions? What assumptions am I making about my life or work that may not be true? Keep identifying your assumptions. And question number